executive director position, replacing Barry Acker. I think Barry was in it for 146 years,
Close.
if I'm not mistaken. Before joining Gears, David served as director of Parks and Recreation for Springersbury Township in York County for 15 years. And more recently was the director of operations at the Boys and Girls Club of Lancaster for 11 years. So welcome to you, David. I'm sure everybody's curious what's been happening with Gears since you've taken over and future plans and everything, and also to learn more about you, because you know you have to become a member of Rotarian or a Rotary Club, because that's just like it's a given.
Understood.
Okay, welcome. Go ahead.
Well, Glenn, thank you very much for the introduction. I just want to thank the Elizabethtown Rotary Club for the invitation to speak today about Gears. Glenn had mentioned to me that he was looking for me to address how the pandemic has impacted Gears, and it's impacted Gears just like it has any other business. So I'll talk with you a little bit about what our current state is as far as our operations. And I started in the position as executive director in early May. Probably not the most opportune time to change positions, but I have to say it's been very exciting and challenging at the same time. But prior to my arrival, and you may already be aware of this, in March, we had shut our doors and furloughed staff for a period of time. And the one thing that I found so far during my tenure here at Gears is that the staff are very resilient. And we could have kept our doors closed, but we sought assistance through the Paycheck Protection Program, and we received funding that helped, pretty much a lifeline for reopening our doors and continuing to keep them open. So we received that funding in early May, and we started to bring back our staff. In addition to the Paycheck Protection Program funding, we also sought a waiver so we could serve children of parents who are considered essential employees. So our doors officially reopened in May, serving children again in our child care program. And it started with just a few kids, and we started to build those numbers as we moved through the summer months. But it just, again, demonstrates the resiliency of Gears and the opportunities that our staff have been able to seek to keep our doors open and to continue to provide services to our community. We started to bring back staff in May, during the month of May and early June. As you know, there's been limitations on the number of people that you can serve in a particular venue. So indoors, it's 25, outside, 250. So that impacted our recreation programs significantly. Without the availability of indoor facilities, for example, that limited some of the programming that we were able to provide. But rather than not provide any services during the summer months, when many organizations that provide similar services were just pretty much shutting down, Gears was trying to find innovative, creative ways to continue to provide services. So we did provide a summer playground program. We provided Camp Ladybug, which I know the Elizabethtown Rotary Club has supported over the years. Even though we had a limitation on the number of kids that we could serve, we still were able to provide the program. And I will tell you, based on all the comments that we have received during and after the conclusion of those programs, parents were very appreciative that we offered such a service because it was needed. Our kids were homebound for months, and this was their first opportunity to get out and socialize, interact with their peers. And so, although we did have some limitations, they were both very successful programs this summer. We also tried to provide some other forms of recreation in non-traditional ways. So fitness classes, for example, that traditionally have been held indoors, we moved outside to better social distance. People felt safer. And those programs really were successful in terms of attracting people. And the adults that we served in those fitness programs, although it was a limited menu of programs, they're very appreciative that we were offering something. And the quality of the programs did not diminish because of the pandemic. We really strive to provide high quality services and high quality customer service. And we were able to do that through the summer, not only with our recreation programs, but also with our childcare our summer camp program. Our numbers did start to increase where we served upwards of 100 kids on a daily basis. Our senior center, however, has been closed. It will reopen this week. That was not our decision. We're serving a very vulnerable population. So it was recommended that we keep our doors closed during the summer months, but that did not preclude us from maintaining contact with the folks that we serve. Our staff were very busy on a daily basis, either calling the folks that we serve or emailing, and also preparing a weekly newsletter that was mailed out to all the folks that we serve. And for them, it was truly a lifeline because many of them were, isolated, experiencing stress and anxiety and depression related to the pandemic and being locked indoors for the most part. So even though we weren't serving folks in person, we were maintaining communication with them on a regular basis, which was very important. So in addition to PPP loan, we also have received other forms of funding to help with our operations. So for example, we have received funding through the CARES Act that's specifically allocated for licensed child care providers. And at this point, we've received we've received over 70,000. We're anticipating another 70,000. So we're looking at possibly $140,000 to help with payroll, which is what we've been using the PPP loan for. And we also recently received $80,000 from the Lancaster County share of the CARES Act funding. That was through the Recovery Lancaster program that we received those fundings. Again, it's going to help cover our operating expenses, specifically payroll. So you're talking upwards of $500,000 that we've received as a result of the pandemic to help with our operations. And again, it's really been helpful because our numbers have been lower pretty much across the board. But again, our staff have been very innovative and creative with their ideas and programming. And we did provide a full menu of programs as part of our fall session. We mailed out our seasonal brochure, which reaches over 16,000 households in the area. So although we were a little bit limited with some of the programs that we were able to provide, we still were able to try to meet the recreation needs of the kids and families and adults that we serve in the community. Unfortunately, there have been some larger scale events that we have not been able to provide, or we will not be able to provide, such as the Fall Festival, the holiday parade. We're looking at doing a drive-through parade at the fairgrounds. Again, just another example of an innovative approach to, rather than not do anything, try to do something. And this would be a situation where we have the floats would already be set up and people would just drive through and view them and vote on them. So we're working with the borough and other officials to try to make that happen. And that would be in December. So we are moving forward. We're dealing with the present as far as just maintaining our operations. We've pretty much, almost all of our staff have returned. Actually, by next week, I should say, all of our staff will be back. So we're happy to report that. But there's still challenges and barriers that we face providing our programs, and we're working through it. when you depend on school district facilities, for example, and some other local businesses who provide facilities for us, and they're unavailable, it does make it a little bit difficult. But like I said, we have, I believe, persevered in being able to still meet the needs of our community. And with organizations like the Elizabethtown Rotary Club, who have supported our efforts on an ongoing basis, whether it be for programs or facilities like the playground, it's really going to require a collaborative effort from our community, nonprofit organizations, our business community to help in our survival. And I think we're doing a great job, our staff, in leading the organization with a good variety of programs. But again, it does impact our revenue stream when you're unable to provide the same level of programming that you've done in the past. So in terms of, that's where we are currently. But we also have, we're also looking at the future, and our future is implementing our feasibility study, which would enable us to renovate our second floor of the community center, which is critical to our future expansion of programming. We need facilities, and we need to reduce our dependence on other facility owners so we can do more in-house. So that's something that we're looking at now in terms of funding a potential capital campaign in the near future. But in order for us to achieve that vision of renovating and expanding our programs here at the community center, it's really going to require, again, a collaborative effort from the community. We certainly can't do it alone. And so I and the rest of our staff here at Gears look forward to working with the Rotary Club here in Elizabethtown, as well as other businesses and organizations to make that a reality. It's very easy just to say, hey, we're in a pandemic, let's put that on hold for a while. Well, I truly believe that this is an opportune time for us to make that happen and start working on it. And so we have 1 foot here in the present and one foot in the future, and trying to move Gears along. So that's currently where we stand. And we're confident that we'll get through this. I know we have a great group of staff here that work very well as a team, and they take a lot of pride in their work, and they're dedicated to Gears. And so I'm confident that we'll get through this and be very successful in implementing our future plans, which include the community center renovation. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have regarding our programs or our feasibility study or any of the other initiatives that we're currently pursuing.
Do you have a separate organization doing your feasibility study?
Dave, that was completed last year.
Okay.
Yes, so it's already been completed, and so it's something that as a staff and as a board that we're reviewing and trying to develop a game plan for how we're going to approach.
Okay. Good, thank you. Good.
Hey, Dave, could you just give us a little background on yourself personally, your family?
Sure. Glenn mentioned my prior experience in the park and recreation field. I reside in East Hempfield Township with my wife and my 12-year-old son, who attends Hempfield School District, specifically the Centerville Middle School. So I've been pretty much in Lancaster County most of my life, outside of some time when I grew up in Philadelphia and lived there some time while I was in college. But most of my time has been spent here in Lancaster County. And one thing I want to say here in Elizabethtown during my short tenure, it's really evident that people take care of each other. And when there's a need, everyone seems to join together to make sure that, you know, someone's needs are taken care of, like ours when we were addressing our summer playground program and considering whether to hold it or not because of the financial constraints that we were under. The Rotary Club, as well as a number of other organizations and local businesses, came through at the last minute to help support that cause. And so I'm very happy to be in this position and look forward to serving the communities, not just Elizabethtown, but the West Donegal Township and Mount Joy Township, and just drawing more people in to provide services to.
So David, I have to know, have you quarantined Barry Acker? That he's not allowed to set foot?
No, I have to say, Mr. Acker has played an instrumental role in helping with my transition. For a gentleman that had 44 plus years of experience and has been here since the inception of the program, he had a lot of knowledge locked up in his head that I needed to access. So he was very helpful in that transition. And, you know, it's something that's fairly uncommon when you're succeeding someone who filled the same position. You don't normally get the access to that individual like I had with Barry. And so I'm very appreciative of his time that he dedicated to helping me with my transition.
Great.
Okay, personal question. How good of a golfer are you?
Oh, well, I tell you what, it's like bowling. I like to throw the ball as hard as I can, and if I hit something, I'm happy. With golf, I like to hit the ball as hard as I can, and if it goes like near the green, I'm happy. I'm not a good golfer. That's to answer your question. But I can play. I'm more power than finesse, unfortunately. I don't care where it goes. I just care about how far it goes.
I didn't know, David, if you knew the building you're in was the old high school. And some of our members have probably graduated from that building because the new high school was, I think, 58. And when it became when they moved out of that building, then it became the 6th grade building. So all of us Etown students up until I think the 3 classes behind me went to 6th grade in that building. And that's where we transitioned from having a single classroom to knowing how to move around a building and having lockers in the hallway. I mean, we thought we were so grown up in that building. And down in the basement is where the music, Don, where the music sectionals were relegated.
Wow.
That often happens.
Then you talk about being upstairs in the 2nd floor. My homeroom was upstairs. And I think those steps are wooden, aren't they?
On the one side, yes. On the west side of the building, they're wood.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm thinking, you know, we went to school in a fire trap.
Good to know I'm in a fire trap.
No, I'm not allowed to use the 2nd floor now.
No, we store a lot of stuff up there.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, some of us had fond memories of that building.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that history.
That sounds like a program you could put together, Brenda. Bring
What,
in
talking
all the
about-
old people.
Talking about that, you mean talking about that building?
About what happened there and your experience. Develop it.
Oh, I didn't go to high school there. I only went there for 1 year. 6th grade, all the 6th graders from all around the district, from all the elementary schools came to that building for 6th grade. And then we went to the high school up at the end towards used to be the tennis courts, now it's a football field. That was the junior high end. 7th and 8th grade was up at the end towards the football field.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, David. We appreciate it. Good luck with everything. And I'm sure we'll hear from you soon once we start getting back to normal, we'll try and get you to a meeting, and you just need to be able to meet everybody in person.
No,
So if
I
can,
appreciate that. I did want to mention that I was a Rotarian when I was in York. I was part of the Rotary Club York East for a number of years before leaving. So I understand the work that the Rotary Club does and how impactful it is, and love to be part of it. So you let me know what I need to do to proceed with that process, and
Great.
like to move
Good.
forward with it.
So who's going to be the sponsor to keep after David? Everybody witnessed what he said.
I
I'll
think
take care of it.
Glenn's up.
Make a public service announcement before we adjourn.
Okay, so I just want to mention, David, Camp Ladybug, just for everybody to know, they weren't allowed to hug. There was, such protocol going on there. It was amazing. And just a touching thing is the campers, so many of them were crying at the end when the 6 weeks were over. So it truly left quite an impact on many young people that are just lifelong memories. David, we're so grateful for all of us that we could meet you and get to know you better. We're glad to be partnered with Gears, a vital part of our community's health in many ways. Thank you so much for joining us. Everybody unmute your mics and let's give David a round of applause as best we can online.
Thank you.
I think Brenda had an announcement she wanted to.
Oh, Brenda. Oh,
Make
you're
a-
saying a public service announcement for all. Go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to make a public service announcement. I had a problem with my volume when I joined, so I couldn't say it ahead of time. I am a census enumerator, and I have traveled all around Etown, Lebanon. Now we're in York. I've been to Mannheim. And I want everybody, please, if you haven't done the census for your address, to go on the web to census2020.gov and do your census, so I don't have to come see you.
Good deal.
Hey, Glenn, that means you.
Who's this happy couple?
Yes, look at that. There they are. All right. Well, on all those happy notes, and Brenda, thank you for your service in that regard. Everybody have a fantastic Labor Day weekend. Rest from your labors. We are done.